lots of technology.
Okay. Thank you for visiting Beaverdale Books. We are thrilled to share an exciting lineup of events this month. Join us this Sunday afternoon for Jeff Night, followed by Paula Kerman on November 18th and Carol Rose Spalding on November 19th. And that is just a few of the amazing and many events that we have in the month of November. For a complete list of upcoming events, grab one of these calendars up at the front desk or check out our website at beaverdalebooks.com to see what's in store for the next month. From scavenging for their next meal to dodging soldiers lurking around every corner, life in North Korea teaches its people that staying can be as deadly as escaping, if not more so. Yunho, a shy but resourceful young man, and Myunghee, a fierce and determined dreamer, know this harsh truth too well. When they each make the heart-wrenching decision to flee their oppressive lives, they do so knowing the risk could lead to a fate worse than death. Yunho yearns to reunite with his omma, who escaped across the border years ago, while Myunghee dares to chase dreams far beyond the rain's oppressive grasp. Strangers at first, their paths collide in a chance encounter that changes everything when Myunghee saves Yunho's life, binding their fates together. This event will be moderated by Rebecca Janni, the author of many children's books, including Jammy Dance, Every Cowgirl Loves a Rodeo, and Spin. Rebecca is a storyteller, adventurer, and teacher who finds inspiration in books, travel, and family life. She teaches English and children's literature at Grandview University and writes stories that connect readers across the world. Tina Cho, over here, is the author of several acclaimed books, including Rice from Heaven, The Secret Mission to Feed North Koreans, Korean Celebrations, My Breakfast with Jesus, Worshipping God Around the World, The Ocean Calls, a Yunho mermaid story, God's Little Astronomer, God's Little Oceanographer, and The Princess and the Grain of Rice. Her lyrical middle-age graphic novel, The Other Side of Tomorrow, debuted with Harper Alley on November 12, 2024. After a decade in South Korea, Tina lives in Iowa with her husband and 2 children teaching kindergarten. Please welcome Rebecca and Tina.
Tina, thank you so much for letting me be here tonight. I was thrilled to get a copy of your book and read it recently and just loved it. I cannot wait to hear more. You shared some of your PowerPoint slides with me, and so everyone who's here is in for a really rich discussion tonight. So thank you so much. I will advance slides, and you slow me down or speed me up as needed. So Tina, begin by telling us a little bit about yourself.
First, thank you, Jan, for hosting, and for Becky for having us and moderating. So just a little bit about me is I've been a teacher for 21 years, and I teach kindergarten in Johnston. I've been a writer for 16 years. I don't know why I'm looking here. I'm married, my husband's in the back, and my son is coming soon. I have a daughter too, she's 22. So we lived in South Korea from 2010 to 2020, and we moved back here to the States during the pandemic. I play piano and I like to read, and I'm represented by Adria Getz of KT Literary.
So we all want to know, where did you get this book idea?
So all my book ideas come from experiences. So back in 2010, we moved across the ocean. Actually, we were living in California at the time, and we moved to South Korea because my father-in-law asked my husband to come and work for the family business. So I thought we would stay just 1 year, but we ended up staying for 10 years. And so I traded cornfields for rice fields, and then Des Moines for Seoul. And Seoul has 9 million people, and South Korea has a population of 51 million people just on the small peninsula, so it's very crowded. So therefore, people can't have huge houses with big yards. they mostly live in these high-rise apartments. So here's one of the apartments we lived in. And these are my kids back in 2010 with their grandfather, Halabaji. Can anyone spot North Korea on this map taken from outer space? Anyone want to try?
Well,
No?
the star and the lights are.
You think it's here?
No,
You think it's here?
There's a lot of stars.
Here? Let's vote. Come on, people. My kindergartners do better. How many of you? Raise your hand if you think this is North Korea. Raise your hand if you think this is North Korea. Raise your hand if you think this is North Korea. You got it. So this is North Korea. This is Seoul. And then this is China. They only have electricity, you know, for a few hours of the day. No, like 5 or 6 hours. This is the back matter from my book, picture book, Rice from Heaven, and I thought it was a really great map. So I usually tell my students, so long ago there was a war, the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, and the northern part became communist, helped by China and Russia, and the southern part became a republic helped by the United States. And however, a peace treaty was never signed, so technically they are still at war. And that is why there's over 23,000 military still in South Korea, military from the United States. And so right here along this border is called the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, and I've gotten to go up there. And then you can see the two flags. This is South Korea.
There we go.
So, yeah. So when we were living there, we attended churches, and I heard about North Korean refugees. These churches would have ministries and teach them English and help them, and I had never heard about them growing up here in the States. So I researched them on the internet to find out more about them, and I was just blown away with their stories. And so I knew that I wanted children around the world, especially here in America, to know more about them.
Is it similar to a Chinese church?
This is a Korean church. This is Korea. Let me look.
Tina, do you have a book activity or a teacher's guide?
Yes, so we are going to do an icebreaker right now because I'm a teacher. And so, do you remember long ago, boys and girls? Boys and girls. Long ago. Do you remember these things called cootie catchers? So we're all going to make a cootie catcher, and I have the directions if you forgot from your childhood. So I cut them out. And so if you will turn the paper upside down and fold it diagonally. And then fold it the other way on the other diagonal line. And then fold the corners to the middle. And then flip it over and fold the corners to the middle again.
If you get your cootie catcher to this stage, then hold it up so that we kind of know, and then we'll go over what's next. So
I can come around and help you like I did my students. Is it working? We need help.
I got it. I gave her mine. It's okay. Thank you.
And then fold it in half, and then fold it in half to make the crease, like this. And then fold it and do it the other way too. And then there should be holes for you to stick your thumb and your pointer finger inside. Yes.
Hey, it's been a long time since I've done this. That right?
Oh, okay. I'll do the second one. Okay, hold on.
Presentation you have to do demonstration or something.
Do you break like the claws out of first cut?
I've never learned to.
I used to really like this, and then I was just like, I think figure 8 thing of like that. But it's the game that's where you could like push it in to like make like that. Oh, yeah. I used to do that. I had to get tutorial. I took 3 on it. It was pretty easy. I would make like 3 a day.
It's been a long time.
oh, you're good. You're on point.
Yeah, it's only kind of like
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I made like
Okay.
one of those nail stars. And then when I was like this big, it was like big.
Yeah.
I was very easy.
All right, now I want you to stand up.
You want the mic there? You could.
Stand up, and I want you to play it. You're going to find someone you don't know, and you're going to ask them. The first question is, which country would you rather visit? Laos, China, North Korea, or Thailand? And if you remember, once they make a selection, you're going to spell it out. So if I say China, then I'm C-H-I-N-A. And then you will see a list of foods. All of these foods are in my book. Everything on this cootie catcher is from my book. And then you pick a food that you would like to try. And then that person will spell it again. And then you pick another food and raise it up and read the question. And tell the person you're meeting why you chose those answers. All right, go.
All right. Good. L.
What? No, it's still going. One viewer. There's been people in and out a lot.
I think I will. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather battle mosquitoes or battle a leech? I think mosquitoes. Pick a food. Okay. I think which foods would you like to try? You're asking for what did you give? Well, the river.
One final. I don't like it today, but I guess I'll pick lab.
Pick one.
Okay, so you gotta pick the soup.
I would rather pick seaweed soup. Okay. We have to spell it. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Would you rather screw thousands of Christmas lights on a string or dig for scratch?
So, would you rather
Yeah. 1,000. Thousands. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Alrighty. So now I gotta do this. Okay. Thailand.
I think I can do it, it's not very well. It's very awkward.
Both sound really hard.
Yeah, just warm my nail. Fixing something, I got caught in a chair and I ripped off a nail. Okay, so it's kind of hurting. Yeah, they're like almost at 2.
Or North Korean praise music to the leader, Kim Jong-un.
Thank you.
How did you figure these out, Tina? How did you figure them out?
Make it?
Yeah.
Well, I asked, and I asked, what do you guys get? So then I have to come up with stuff.
And so are you supposed to catch cooties with these?
I don't know why we call it that.
Yeah. Because the kids love cooties, I think.
Okay, did you learn something from somebody?
Yes.
I hope so. And everything on the cootie catcher is from my book. And I have no idea why we call it a cootie catcher, but if you do, you can tell me later.
I bet those little girls know. Why do they call them cootie catchers?
We always called them fortune tellers when I was, my generation.
And then on my website, there is a teacher's guide, an educator's guide. So if you want to use this in homeschooling or with your kid or your teacher, librarian, it's on my website.
Have you ever been to North Korea?
I have not, but I've been as close as I could get. So we first went to Korea when my daughter was a baby back in 2004. And you can go up really close to the border in a city called Paju, and they have a museum, and there's this replica of a North Korean school. So that's what, they're the North Korean students, and you can see on the wall of every house and every building are the leaders' pictures. And then after we moved to Korea, this is in 2017, we took some friends up to the border. You can look out the binoculars and see into North Korea as well. And then, this is the view, but they say that the buildings that you can see from the binoculars are staged. It's not the real, not the real deal. So, my son just came with his friend. You can move my coat and he can here's I went on a tour of the DMV. And then you can see the fence and the Soldiers Tower right there with a very cloudy day. And there's even a subway station to get to Pyongyang, which is the capital of North Korea. However, there is no subway that goes there. They built it in hoping to use it if there are good relationships between North and South. I think it ran maybe once, and then the leadership changed in the South, and then now it's a no-go. But it's less than a mile. And up by the border, you'll see stuff like this, ribbons where the citizens will write wishes and prayers for peace and wishing that they can see family members, because you know at the war time families were separated, and then so they're praying and wishing, and same here. And I got to sign on a mural, so I wrote, "May God bring peace."
Is there mail between any?
Let me ask him, is there mail? He said no.
No. So you can't even write to.
No.
Well, and if I can back up a second, in the book, are even calls to international countries allowed?
She said, "Are calls to international countries allowed from North Korea?"
Right.
You mean out of North Korea? No, they cannot. It's death if you try to call out. Yeah. May I find a chair? So it totally is a reclusive country.
And you would not be allowed access into North Korea,
Right.
correct?
Well, they do allow like American citizens to go on tours, but you can't like use your camera and stuff. Because I've read about American citizens who've gone in, but the stuff that they show you, you know, is all staged.
So what is the Asian Underground Railroad?
So as I researched about the North Korean refugees, I heard about this Asian Underground Railroad. I had never heard of it, and I, connected it to the Underground Railroad that we have here in the United States. So once someone leaves North Korea, they'll cross that Tumen River into China, and then they will hide, because China, if they're found in China, they are repatriated, and then if they're sent back, they'll be sent to a concentration camp. And so they hide in China, and then they try to make their way down to Kunming, to southern China. And from there, they will take a bus or something down into the country of Laos. And if you know anything about Laos, Laos is also communist, so they also repatriate North Koreans. But they cross the jungle of Laos and come to Thailand. And once in Thailand, they go to an embassy, either the U.S. embassy or the South Korean embassy, somewhere in the world that will receive them. So that is the Asian Underground Railroad.
How long did it take to write this book?
Well, this book took forever. It took 12 years. And that's because it had to find the right format, because, so actually like 12 years ago from this November is when I first interviewed 2 North Korean boys and a pastor who helped with escapes out of North Korea. And then I wanted children in America to know about them, so I thought it would be a picture book. So I wrote a picture book draft, and I was like a beginning writer too, so it wasn't very good. And I was in a critique group, and I sent it back and forth for 2 years, 16 different drafts, and finally some of them said, this is too much information, too deep, why don't you try and make it a chapter book or middle grade. But the problem is, I had never written a chapter book, I didn't even know how, so thankfully I had a great writing mentor from California, Nancy I. Sanders, and she had a self-paced class, how to write a chapter book in 1 month. So, we were in Korea, and I was homeschooling my kids, so I homeschooled them in the morning, and then I did this class in the afternoon, and transformed this into like 20 chapters for a chapter book. And then I heard about Scholastic Asia was having a book contest. If you're an Asian author with an Asian story, you can submit it to their contest. So I thought, might as well try, I have nothing to lose. And I wasn't expecting anything because I had never written a chapter book or anything. So anyway, I got an email, would I come to Singapore because my book had been shortlisted for the award. And at that time, I was teaching at an international school in Korea. So I took the day off. It's a 3-hour flight from Seoul to Singapore. And my book, my story, won actually second place. It was called, it's the first runner-up. And one of the judges is from the United States, a well-known man. Do you know Leonard Marcus? He's the picture book historian and critic. He's very famous. He was the judge. Wow. So I just mailed him, had HarperCollins mail him the book. So anyway, after that, Scholastic Asia wanted to publish it, but they didn't want to pay very much, and the editor didn't want to change very much in it, the story, and I knew the story was pretty bad because I had never written it before. So I declined. And then in 2016, I signed with my agent, Adria, and I revised the story, I revised the story with her. She sent it out to different publishers. It got 11 lovely rejections. And one editor, I remember, said it was too choppy. So Adria suggested, why don't you try it as a novel in verse? Well, there's another problem. I had never read a novel in verse. I'm not a poet. I can't even write a rhyming story. So, and we were living in South Korea. Where am I supposed to come up with a novel in verse in English? Because there's not a lot of English libraries. So, in 2019, we came to the United States in that summer to visit my family. So I went to the library, checked out a bunch of novel and verses, and I really liked them. Yeah. And so I tried, but I kind of got stuck. So in March, we were back in Korea. I just wanted to quit, wanted to give up. I quit emailing my agent, and because this is going nowhere. I'm not a poet. And she could sense something was up. So she called me across the ocean to Korea and gave me a pep talk, and that really helped. So I was able to finish up my draft, and she wanted to change the title, so it became The Tune Without Words. We revised 5 more times, and then we got a hook, or what do you call it? We got a bite. We got a bite from an editor. Carolina Ortiz from HarperCollins was interested. However, HarperCollins had a new imprint called Harper Alley of graphic novels. Would I be willing to turn this story into a graphic novel? Well, I never read a graphic novel, and I was thinking of like Marvel comics, and it didn't appeal to me. So once again, this is when we were visiting my family in the States. So I went to the library, checked out some new graphic novels, and there was one called Hidden about a child's story of the Holocaust. And it was beautiful, and I really liked it. So, and my editor had the perfect illustrator in mind, Deb J.J. Lee. It was is a Korean American. She was living in California at the time. And so I gave the thumbs up. It was supposed to be published in 2022, but it takes a long, long time to illustrate a graphic novel. Deb said it takes 8 hours just to do one spread. So that's why it's coming out November this year. So God's timing is perfect.
And Deb's illustrations are beautiful for the story too. This is still you, right?
So these are just some photos I threw in here. I buy a notebook for each book project that I have, and I handwrite my notes. And then this is what it looked like when I typed it out as a picture book story. And then my agent likes to put on a fancy cover. This is what it looks like typed out as more of as a poem. And that's how Deb received it.
So did you illustrate the book?
So this is what students always ask. No, I do not. Eliza, can I draw? My student is here. Eliza, do I draw very well?
That's cute.
Here was the announcement in Publishers Weekly. And these, I'm going to show you some clips that Deb has shared. The character lineup.
It's cool. I don't want to move too quickly.
Some of these are the same characters, how they just progress in the story. And Deb does all this on her iPad in Procreate. So she sketches it, and then thankfully my editor would send the sketches to me because it was based on reality. She wanted me to check. So I had to check the pencil sketches at least 3 different times before she would ink them with color. And Deb does all the work herself.
So keep going.
And here's more. So the pencil sketches in full color. This is one of my favorite ones here. And Deb said, yes. She wasn't told where to divide the poems. She was given that liberty. I love the color scheme. Keep going.
I know Tina keeps looking at me to keep going, but doesn't this just make you want to pick up a book? It's such a wonderful story, and the illustrations are stunning. It's a wonderful pairing. Oh, here we go. I get another question. Has The Other Side of Tomorrow gotten good reviews?
It's gotten 4-star reviews, 4 stars so far. I'm hoping for one more. We haven't heard from the Hornbook yet. And it's a Junior Library Guild Gold Standard selection. And it's coming out in French. Does anyone speak French?
You did. Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's coming out in Turkish. Does anyone speak Turkish?
So cool.
Oh, Vic has a question. I'm excited. It looks wonderful. I think this will be a
Thank
favorite
you.
book.
Should I read it?
All of it or just the verdict?
I'll read the verdict. This gut-wrenching story of hope and resilience needs to find its way to all readers' hands. Actually, I'm just going to read one other. Told from their alternating perspectives in welcoming conversational verse, Yunho and Myunghee's suspenseful, harrowing journeys provide readers with a realistic and devastating portrayal of life under one of the most oppressive regimes in the world. Triumphant, moving, and unforgettable. Oh. Can you read us an excerpt?
Sure. But if it goes too long, just tell me, okay? Oh, I was gonna... The print is really small, so...
Do you want a book?
Sure. You can tell it's for the younger ones.
Or with paperback, they better.
So these are divided into like poems, and up at the corner it has the date, the city name, which characters talking, and the name of the poem. So this is from Yunho, the boy. It's called Boiled Mouse. 10th birthday, no fried egg, no seaweed soup. And let me explain this. So I have a North Korean friend. I asked him, so what would you get for your birthday? Because like here in America, we would have a birthday cake. So what is so special in North Korea on your birthday? And he said it would be a fried egg. And then in Korea, they usually eat seaweed soup on their birthday. So anyway, no fried egg, no seaweed soup, no omma or mom to smile proudly, telling me how much I've grown. I close my eyes and remember her smile, her thinning face. Some days she didn't eat a single bite because she gave it to me. Other days, we ate creatively. One day, a mouse ran through our house until it was no more. Omma made plans after that dinner. She could find work and food in China. That's why their mouse was on the cootie picture. 2 years ago, I watched her silently slip behind a tree and cross the river, water up to her waist. In my mind, I screamed, "Omma!" but not aloud, never aloud, for the soldiers are always watching, always listening. No one is allowed to leave here, not even if you're hurt or starving, not even if your Omma is waiting for you to cross the river. It was too dangerous for me to go too, so I take care of my harmony, which is grandma, and I earn money until Omma sends for me. Omma's last words, "We'll fly to freedom together one day. I promise, be brave." Some days I am, but not today. Worst birthday. And this one is from the other character. Her name is Myunghee, and this is called Applause. Down the mountain I go after searching for a sign of life. Edible plants, herbs, and roots. I am 11 years old, a girl who wants to sing, a 5th grade dropout, a proud street seller with secrets of survival, trading, and bribery. I make money for my great aunt and me. Emo harmonies sickly. Medicine costly. Me spunky. On this curb I'll sit all day and sing to my silent audience, waiting for someone to buy my vegetables. I spot a girl my age, with holes in her clothes, watching my wagon. Better not steal. 1 onion and 3 potatoes, please. 200 won. She drops the bills into my hand. No crowd to applaud my song, but this is something. And then, when there are no more sales to be made, I go home to wash roots and leaves. Boiling some in a pot, I make tea for my emo harmony. Perhaps nature can heal her. Look what I have for you. Tea to make you well and a flower to cheer you up. What would I do without you? This dandelion is a hardy plant that survives through difficult times, just like you. And then the next poem is from Yunho, the boy. It's called The Hunt. The hunting rules: 1 kilogram of iron equals 100 won. The respectable father, Marshal Kim Jong-un, commanded one person must bring enough metal for 1 bullet. Down the path, I smile at my scraggly friend June. Good luck hunting. Digging in dry fields, I search for anything rusty, shiny, among the withered plants. My hands are rough, but know the difference between thistle and metal. A rusty nail pokes my finger. 6 more lie underneath in the hard ground. I tear into it. Pockets full of iron, I run through another field, searching for forgotten vegetables. There are none, except something shiny sticking out from the ground. I pull 3 to 4 kilos. I lug my prize for the collection. If I don't bring enough for both of us, my grandmother and I won't receive food distributions on special days. I plop it on the counter and receive 500 won. The smooth bills. Today's trophy makes me wealthy. Is that like 50 cents? Jackie? 500 won? He's not sure. And then the next one is from the girls' point of view, called Imagination. My heart aches when I see a family that hasn't been torn apart by money, famine, death. What if Abaji, my father, hadn't crossed the river? The border guards wouldn't have shot him. What if Omma hadn't combed beaches for seaweed and hillsides for pine cones and bad weather to feed me? What if she had stayed well? Instead, I listened to her screaming pains. I shut my eyes to the past and imagined what could have been. She would be here to stroke my hair, and I would be a child again sitting in school. I like my imagination. This was one of my favorites. This one's the last one. From the boy Yunho. The walls have ears. What good are books when I can't read? Boring. What good is television if it always shows the same thing? The respectable Father Marshal. Boring. What good is art if the portraits on the wall are of the dead generalissimos Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il? Boring. When I was still in school, my teachers said the generalissimos were wonderful. I believed they were gods. But if they are so magnificent, why is my family hungry and poor? Why did Amma leave to find work? Why do I have to work instead of go to school? I don't dare complain out loud. Harmony always says, the walls have ears.
What was real in your story? I think we should applaud. Is that not wonderful? So there was no room in the back for the author's note, so I put it on my website. But I can't make this stuff up, so it's all based on reality. So I'll just read this quickly. Yunho and Myunghee and the other characters in this book are fictional, but their lives are based on real people who have escaped North Korea. The names and locations have been changed to protect them, but most of the events in this book are true. When details were no longer available, I filled in these gaps in order to share their stories of bravery and strength with you. Most North Korean people are underweight and starving because of a severe famine in the 1990s that killed 3 million people, and the effects of the famine are still felt today. Some starve, which is why, along with other reasons, many North Koreans have chosen to risk their lives by crossing the border into China. After a month in northern China, some escapees take a train or bus to southern China and then cross the mountainous jungle of Laos and into Thailand. And I explained all that before. And then if they're caught, they're repatriated. They will likely go to a concentration camp or a gulag, facing certain death. The escapee's whole family is usually sent to a concentration camp as well and punished to the 3rd generation. Some children are born into a prison camp and don't know why they are there. The horrors and cruelty that they have to endure are beyond comprehension. If the escapees make it to an embassy, they join the list of refugees and must wait their turn to be placed in a safe country,
Sometimes this takes many months or even years of waiting. And South Korea has a program for North Korean refugees which helps them acclimate to South Korean society, provides them money to start out, and teaches them job skills. The United States also began receiving North Korean refugees in 2004. So just imagine, these people are living in the dark ages. So in South Korea, they teach them how to live in 2024 with computers and everything. So writing this story opened my eyes to the atrocities of the North Korean government. From living in South Korea for 10 years, I've experienced fear from Kim Jong-un as he threatened the South. I would keep saying to my husband, don't we need to do something? Because we would hear threats from him. But South Korean citizens are so used to it. It's like the boy who cried wolf. But anyway, neither I nor anyone else can truly understand the fear, hunger, and violence that North Korean citizens who live under his regime endure every day. Through writing this book, I've met many wonderful and kind North Korean refugees and aid workers. And in listening to their stories, I am forever grateful to God that He has kept them safe and that His many blessings have given me the chance to share their journeys with you through Myunghee and Yunho. So at this very minute, many North Korean kids are hungry and hurting and hiding, trying to cross the border. I hope that their journeys spur you to action to help those in need.
Did anyone help you in writing this story?
Remember how they say it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to make a book. So all these people, I'm in 3 critique groups, online groups, but 2 of them helped with this book. And then I already told you about Lennon Marcus, the judge, my agent, my terrific editor, the illustrator, the whole team at HarperCollins. I even have a North Korean sensitivity reader who read through the manuscript to make sure all the details for North Korea are correct. And then I have some North Korean friends who answered my unending questions. I even had to have the help with a U.S. Major Peter Tichot, who was stationed in South Korea, and our families got to know each other, and I had no idea how to break out of a Chinese prison, so he helped me think that up. And then Helen Wu is a Chinese-American author, and she answered my questions about China. My husband, Jagan Cho, who moved us to South Korea. My children, Anna and Isaac, they were my little kid editors who read early drafts of my story and critiqued it. But now I have to pay them to get them doing something. And to God, who gave me a passion for North Korean people and helped me persevere.
Tina, what other books have you written?
We'll go through here really fast. These are my first 4 picture books. This one is about North Korea too. Rice from Heaven, The Secret Mission to Feed North Korea. This one's about the holidays. Different breakfasts around the world, because I was teaching at an international school, and each kids had different kinds of breakfasts and how you share God's love. And then The Ocean Calls, my most famous picture book. So I'll share more. This one, so I helped with an event where we sent rice over the border to North Korea in these huge balloons, and so that prompted me to write Rice from Heaven. And this is the beautiful artwork. So, and I think you have it here, right?
We do.
And then my most famous book is The Ocean Calls, about these diving women called Haemyo. Most of them are 50 to 80 years old. They don't use breathing equipment, and they dive into the ocean. They can hold their breath for 2 minutes. They catch everything, and then they sell it in restaurants and different things. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. And now, if you have Apple TV Plus, there's a documentary about the Haemyo. It's not related to my book. But I met the director on Instagram. She's Korean American. And she even had my book for her own daughter. So we've been talking back and forth. So I took this picture. We flew a 30-minute plane ride down to the island of Jeju. And you can see them in action. My husband likes to eat octopus soup. I always tell my kids, right, Eliza? There's the octopus. And that's the man back there that eats the soup. Okay. So this is the little island of Jeju off the southern coast of Korea, where there's also window, beautiful waters. So we've gone there twice for vacations. This lady's 84, dives into the ocean. And then we met this inside this trailer were more Haenyeo divers and families. Just picture your grandma going into the ocean towards. And this is the book. It also garnered 4 stars in the Junior Library Guild selection. And beautiful artwork. And this one is about the holidays of Korea, and somebody's going to kill me later. Keep going. This is my son Isaac. Back in the day, he's wearing his hanbok. So for the major holidays, Lunar New Year and Chuseok, they dress in the hanbok, and he's got his money bag. And you bow to your elders, and they will give you money. Would you bow for money? Of course. Even I had to. And so he collected like almost $200 and bought himself a new bike. Wow. So this is a little bit from the inside of the book. And then my most recent picture book is Godville Astronomer, a faith-based nonfiction book. And it has diverse characters and has fun facts and Bible verses on each spread about what the Bible has to say about space. And then coming in June will be God's Little Oceanographer, and this is from Penguin Random House. Each major publisher has a Christian imprint, so this is from Waterbrook. And then they want 2 more, so I'm going to work on those. Yeah. That's the spread from this space. And then next fall, you remember that story, The Princess and the Pea? What if it's not a pea and it's a grain of rice? So I wrote The Princess and the Grain of Rice, and it takes place, do any of you watch K-dramas? K-dramas on Netflix, be honest. I do too. But if you watch the period pieces from long ago during the Joseon period, this story will take place then. So this is about a princess. Same story, but it's a piece of rice. Then this is a work for hire book I did. It's a chapter book about Asian American women in science. And most of them are still alive. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from all of you before we... Elizabeth.
I'm so excited about all of those. I experienced something similar in China.
Oh, close. The country Korea is close, yeah.
Korea being so close.
Yes.
I lived in China till I was 9 years old. I love the beautiful artwork in your book.
It is beautiful, yes. Any other questions?
So, I'm just curious if anybody would have or tried escaping through the ocean instead of through the wilderness and through China.
Through the ocean?
Yes, they would prefer that over the.
Yeah, can you say anything? I interviewed a boy I did interview a boy who went through Japan. They got on boat, a fishing boat, went to Japan and were rescued that way. Do you remember anything?
I think there's a few incidents that just flew down to Korea, South Korea by the ocean.
We got down to South Korea by the ocean.
Down to South Korea through the ocean
Yeah,
and then made it to safety?
yeah. I think one kid, I think we.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
I have two questions. First of all, you made mention in there that you contacted some people from North Korea and interviewed them or asked them if all the details were correct. But you said it was really impossible to communicate with people who lived in North Korea. So how did that work?
So these were escapees who were living in South Korea. So we came across them. Like we found out that my husband's hairdresser was from North Korea. So I interviewed her, and then at this, there was like a little school for North Korean children. I interviewed them, but you never know among the population who's from the north, who's from south, because they're not going to tell you that, oh, I'm a North Korean, because there are spies. There are spies from the north who are living in the south also, looking for their North Korean people to take them back. So, yeah.
Okay, and the second question I had was about the underground railroad that you spoke of. I'm wondering if people who try to escape that route, do they mostly go individually, or do they have like a group or a guide that would help, like Harriet Tubman here in the U.S. led people? So people just do it individually, or do they have guides like that help guide them to
They
safety?
have a guide. They pay a broker. So usually they pay a broker to get out of the north into China, and it's thousands, like $20,000, right? I think is it like 20,000 or something that they pay the broker to escape? I think that's what it was. And then a lot of the ones who escape are women, and they're either sold into, slavery or something, or they'll try to find work, or they end up marrying a Chinese man, and then they have to live in hiding because they can't disclose that they are from the north, or they're sent back. And then if they have children from that relationship, those children have to live in hiding because they can't be revealed either. So it's very hard.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So you moved during COVID. How difficult was that?
That was pretty difficult, right? Yeah, but so in South Korea, they were very strict with COVID. I mean, if you had COVID, they made a big public announcement, like your address, and you had to leave and go seclude and live for like 10 days, and they would send you food to your door, and and then I was teaching online in South Korea first, and then when I moved here, I did get a job, and then you guys all went online, so then I became the online teacher here. And so, and then it was really hard to connect back with friends too, because you don't want to get those germs. Like my good friend Annette is here, and I haven't seen her that much because of COVID. It cuts you off,
Yes.
so it's good to be back. And then I met Becky because her sister and I took piano lessons together from the same professor, and that's how I got to know her. And then when we were visiting from South Korea, I think I came over to meet her and met her beautiful family. We have lots of similarities.
I remember my foster family in China. Yeah, we still have contact with them.
Alike in that way.
you.
How do you balance your writing career with being a teacher?
It's really hard. So, Saturdays are dedicated to my writing. So that's all I do on Saturdays. I don't do any schoolwork. I just write, do all that work, and then Sunday afternoons and evening I'm working on schoolwork, and then throughout the week. So it's very hard. Unless I'm on a deadline, then I will do it on a weeknight and I'll eat a lot of carry out.
But you made all that food.
Well, I did. We didn't have school today. We had 2 late nights of parent-teacher conferences this week. So today we had off. So I spent 2.5 hours on the cooking food.
So everybody needs to be sure to eat it and buy some books. And I think Tina's going to sign them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give Tina a very warm